Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us again at Hudson County Review Live. I am your host, the personification of ground game gone global, John R. Highness. Apologize for the minor technical difficulties, but we are back with Freeholder Chairman Anthony Vainieri. Anthony, thanks for coming on board.
Thank you, John. Shall I repeat what I said from the start, from the beginning?
I mean,
nah, it's all right. Don't worry about that. Thanks, I appreciate it.
It's all off script. It's all off script. So, off the cuff. Now, last night, we were starting to talk about, there was a meeting of the North Bergen Zoning Board of Adjustment, residential property, and there was some opposition to the project. So tell us a little bit about the meeting and the actual project.
Well, like I said from the beginning, you can't stop an applicant to come to the board for a fair hearing. That's the law. They have their obligation to come before the board, have a legal hearing, whether they propose a skyscraper or a one-bedroom apartment. We have to hear whatever they say.
Yeah.
Just because they come to the board doesn't mean we're approving it.
Right.
And that's what's out there on the street. Oh, we're building this, we're building that, we're approving this, we're approving that. Nothing's approved. The plans are on our desk. The board members are looking at the plans. We're looking at how it's going to impact our community, what's best for the residents, and we take all those options and we come up with a vote. We listen to the residents of what their options may be. This site is a site that's been vacant for a while. It's been an eyesore.
Several years, right?
It looks horrible, and it's in the best part of town, one of the best parts in town, overlooking the park. It's vacant. It used to be a restaurant, and the last proposal that came before the board was a McDonald's, and the residents didn't want it, and we thought it was too close to the Burger King up the block, and we thought maybe the land could be utilized for a better project. I think the new owners came in with this plan. We looked at it for the first time last night. We're going to listen to the residents, and the board make a decision whether they want to say it's too big, or change this, or change that. It's up to the board members to make that decision, and then we'll take a vote on it at the appropriate time. We still have 2 testimonies to listen to. Probably have about 2 more hearings on it, and it's up to the board, whatever they decide to do. And the project looks nice, but we got to look at everything, how it affects the town, how it impacts everything, and that's what we're looking at.
I think you said it was, 176 units?
It's about 173 units composed of studio apartments, 1 bedrooms, and 2 bedrooms. And we kind of have a consensus of all our developers that come to the town. We try to limit them to studio apartments and 1 bedrooms. They throw 2 bedrooms in there, that's fine, because, if you get a couple, you're going to want to make an office or whatever. You need another spare bedroom, that's fine. But these type of buildings, you're not going to raise families in. You're not going to raise a family in a building. If anything, a new couple may have a baby. They may stay there for maybe 4 or 5 years till he goes to kindergarten or she goes to kindergarten. But we don't see a big impact on the schools with this, number 1. Number 2, there's a plan for the schools already, and that's going to take effect. That's going to alleviate some of the overcrowding that we have. So the schools aren't even an issue. It's the impact of the community, how it impacts the community, and if it's better for the residents and the neighborhood and better for the town as a whole. That's what we look at.
Okay. Now, there were some critics at the meeting that seemed to think this was a case of overdevelopment, and they obviously were not satisfied with what is being proposed. I mean, what was the board's reaction to that?
Well, sometimes we don't react to certain people because they have their own political agenda. When you have a political candidate coming to the Board of Adjustment that has to read a 2-page script, obviously doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, number 1. Number 2, he doesn't even live in town, so does he even care? And number 3, he's probably jealous because if he ever got control of the town, he'd develop that for himself and put millions of dollars in his pocket. But we listen to every resident, okay? We listen to the concerns. Some of the concerns are valid, some of them aren't. Some are just political, and it's a shame. It has to be political.
So one of the things that was brought up, if I'm understanding correctly, was, potential overcrowding of the schools, and you addressed that, obviously. Right. But what else did they say that, could be or anyone else at the meeting, whether political or not, have to say, that could be a concern?
Well, people are just concerned about overdeveloping certain areas, and we're not. I mean, this is an area that's vacant. It's a large piece of property, overlooks a park. It probably be a beautiful building if it's approved. I mean, the board may say to the applicant, say, listen, it's a little bit too big. Can you scale it down? Can you get rid of some of the 2 bedrooms? And a lot of times they work with the municipality. They work with the zoning board members' concerns. And we come up with what's the best. We meet halfway. We whatever's fair for the community, what's fair for the applicant, and we come up with what's the best that would fit that project, fit that area. Because every area of town is different. And every single area of town is different.
And how many years have you been sitting on the zoning board?
Too long. Too long.
So many years.
I could say I've been on the zoning board about 25 years.
Wow.
I've been chairman probably about 15 years.
And you didn't, and based on that, which is obviously a long tenure, you don't see anything about that this is unusual or...
This is everything happens all over town. Our town is getting developed very well. We have a small waterfront, a fraction of what Weehawken, Edgewater, and West New York has, a fraction of what they have.
Yeah.
And everyone says, oh, you're overdeveloping. I mean, just drive on River Road. You could see where the traffic is. Traffic is in Edgewater, traffic is in West New York, and we get the impact of their communities. They're reaping the benefits of, coming in, the taxes are, offsets their tax rate, and it's just not fair that North Bergen can't develop the same way all the municipalities are developing. We are not overdeveloping our town at all. We limited our buildings on River Road to 12 stories high. We haven't gone over that yet, and I don't think we ever will. There has been proposals for larger. We knock them down. And a lot of times you see development happening in town, like to look at that, oh, what's that? They don't understand that the project started here, and we made it here. So, this is suitable for the residents in the neighborhood that okayed it, that would say we're fine with that project. They don't see what comes before the board first. We chop things down a lot. We deny so many projects. We denied a lot of projects that we thought that was overdeveloping our town or didn't fit the neighborhood. And that's basically it. So, whatever the board decides to do with this, we got about 2 more hearings left. And, we welcome the area to come in, the neighborhoods to come in and voice their opinions. Some are valid, some are political, and that's it. We take it from there.
So it's probably 2-3 more months before the board takes a vote.
Probably, and only because our agenda is so heavy. And you look at our agenda, the planning board agenda. You have other municipal boards in town that use the chambers. So you got to fit a date. You got to get their applicant, their attorneys, our board members all together, and come up with a date when everybody can be around for a meeting. And that's how we come up with meeting dates.
Got it. All right. So that's obviously a more policy-based topic. Let's get to the fun stuff, the politics. So obviously,
it's not fun. Not fun at all.
It's fun for me.
I know it's fun for you. You take this little mic and go around to everybody and say, hello, how you doing?
I guess that's one way to say it. Yeah. But as you're obviously well aware, there's a lot of infighting now between the Hudson County Democratic Organization and who's going to be the county executive 2019 and going forward. Would it be safe to say you're supporting Tom DeGise in his re-election?
Safe, 100% safe. It's not safe. I am supporting Tom DeGise next year. He's been a great county executive. Just look at my park. Not my park. Look at Braddock Park, the park that I oversee. The things that we have done in this municipality, in this county, doesn't go alone with just the freeholders. It goes with the administration. The county executive comes up here, he meets me, we drive around the park, we walk around the park, and whatever the county could afford to do, he says yes to all the time. Yes, the freeholders have the authority to say yes to spend the money, but he has the authority to set the plan in place, put the plan in place.
Yes.
It's his staff that puts the plan in place, goes out for the bidding, goes out proposals, hires the contractors, hires the engineers, hires everything, and it's a great relationship that we have.
Let's rewind for just a moment to about a month ago. Jersey City Mayor Stephen Fulop, State Senator, Union City Mayor Brian Stack obviously said that they want to move in a different direction on the county level. They both have said, DeGise essentially had one foot out the door, and they felt like, the county was getting stale and he lacked energy and there was a lack of diversity in the county. What do you think of these criticisms?
Listen, I really don't want to say too much about them, but what their city has been getting from the county was a lot. Union City got a lot of resources from the county. The county went in there, helped them with the snow plow. They used the park to remove the snow out of the town. The county executive and the Freeholder board, when it comes to the park in Union City, you ever see the park in Union City? It's gorgeous. It is beautiful.
I've seen it.
Listen, they have the reasons to do what they want to do. That's fine, no problem. They probably thought they were going to sit down with Tom DeGise and say, we're not supporting you, and Tom DeGise is going to say, okay, goodbye. wasn't so. He's a fighter. Tom Jee's a fighter, very Jersey City native, and got a lot of guts, and give more power to it. And we're sticking with him. We're going to stay with him. We're supporting him, and we don't think it's time for change yet. The county's moving in the right directions. We have a lot of anticipated developments that he started, and he should remain there till at least they're finished. I mean, we have a new courthouse coming. We should be breaking ground in about another year. So all these things that you're going to change administrations, you're going to change the path of the county. It's not the time to change administrations right now. The county's moving forward. All the mayors are happy except two. The other mayors probably don't even count. So that's where we're going. I give more power to Ryan Stack and Steve Fulop. They want to support another candidate. We'll just go to the polls in June of 19 and see where the voters go. I believe Tom Jee's is going to win.
Okay.
So,
well, just on a clerical point, though, just for people that haven't been following on the day-to-day, Hoboken Mayor Ravi Bala and West New York Mayor Felix Roque are supporting the change as well. So
right.
It's 4 mayors out of 12.
Well,
right?
Ravi just was elected mayor. He's under in the Senate district of Brian Stack, so he probably wants to work with him, which is fine. But he won with like 32% of the vote. The whole council I can't say the whole council, most of the council will be supporting Tom DeGeese. 3 commissioners out of West New York are supporting Tom DeGeese. So they face challenges in the future. Roque has to run next year. He has 3 commissioners right now against him because the sitting congressman against him. He has the United States Senator right now probably against him. So, he's got his own tough fight next year. I don't know why he's going to get into another tiff-taff somewhere else. He better worry about his own mayoral race next year. As far as Hoboken Mayor, he just won. He'll be there for 4 years. And if the opposition ever came together, they could win in 2 seconds, but they can't seem to get their act together. Who wants to be mayor? Who wants to be this? Who wants to be that? If they came together, they could win. They would have been winning since Zimmer, but they're all split up down there, and that's why they keep winning with 32% of the vote. But that's fine. There's no problem. Like I said, elections are elections. The voters go to the polls. We support our candidates. They'll support theirs. And we'll take it from there.
Gotcha. Now, you said you're, very satisfied with the direction the county's moving in, and plenty of people do share that perspective. However, there are some, of course, critics as always, and some have pointed to, including Mayor Fulop, have pointed to the deaths at the jail. He's called for a state takeover. Others have said, this is an example of the county failing to serve their constituents properly. So what do you say about these deaths? I believe it's been 7 since June.
Listen, it's horrible that deaths occurred, first of all. We're sympathy to them and the families, without a doubt. Some of the deaths, I know at least 2 of the deaths. One was a person who had liver failure and cirrhosis of the liver and had a heart attack and dropped dead there. Another inmate was eating objects, eating plastic, eating spoons, plastic knives, just eating everything. How some of the staff didn't see that, I don't know, but you could hide everything, I guess. It was unfortunate. And then a couple other suicides that weren't on suicide watch. But a lot of the intake through our medical company that oversees the medical staff down there is getting looked at very, very scrutiny right now. And we're looking to oust them immediately to come in with another medical organization to come in and take over. We're looking at that. That's where it lays with the medical staff. And we're looking to replace them right off the bat. You can't blame the director right now. He just got there. I want to give him a little more chance. He might have to look at his chain of command and the intake of the procedures, come up with new plans. We're working on that. We're working on committees. We're working on ad hoc committees. We have doctors and lawyers coming in and sitting on our committees, evaluating what happened, going through the records of what happened, and trying to figure out, hopefully, God forbid, this never happen again. But if you look at the jail deaths all over the country and all over the state, I hate to say we're not the only ones. Mercer County has the same medical staff that oversees ours, and they have problems too, except they don't want to have the advocates that go down there and say, this is wrong, that's wrong, this is wrong. They're under the limelight, under the light, under the radar. But listen, we're facing a little problem there. We'll get through it. do the medical staff over, his chain of command, his procedures, his policies, and we're going to look at it. We look at it very hard. The Public Safety Committee, we meet every other week. Our ad hoc committee meetings, we just met like the other day. We're bringing in witnesses, testimonies, and we'll listen to the experts that travel the country, that do evaluations of correctional facilities all over the country. We'll listen to their opinions and their facts, and we'll take it from there. We'll see where we go. It's tough.
Understandable. And the medical company, you just mentioned that you're going to oust them very shortly. Yeah, CFG. So would that be as soon as next week, or how soon are we talking?
It's a longer procedure that we know. From one company to another company, you can't throw a company the next day. They have to know what the inmates were treated for, what medicines they're on. They have to get to know the inmates and what they need, and they have to work together. It's almost like a transition type of period. When you have governors go out, presidents go out. Seriously, there's a transition phase there that you have to go, and it's going to take a couple months, at least 3 months, 4 months. It has to, because you can't just throw somebody out the door and not know what's going to bring someone in, and then I'm not going to know what's going on, what's the medicine this inmate's taking, where do you get it, and there's a lot of different things to look at, so it's going to take some time.
Okay, got it. Now, back to the Civil War, if you will. So the Hudson County Democratic Organization will vote on a new chair June 12th. As you know, Brian Stack has been quite adamant that he is seeking that position. Tom DeGise just sent out a mailer that was not too kind to Brian Stack, talking about his support of Governor Chris Christie, of course the former governor now. And he seemed to intimate in that mailer that he was going to run somewhat against Brian Stack. So what can you tell me about that?
Well, of course, they started the war. Tom DeGise is reacting. Tom DeGise is looking to take on Brian Stack as the county chair, Democratic county chair. He's probably going to run a candidate out of Jersey City. I don't know who they came up with yet. Whoever it may be, it'll be another race. It'll be another political race, another election. You have to have an election for county chair. So wherever the county committee members stand, whoever they support, they'll pick a chair.
So some people believe that between Jersey City and Union City, the total's just impossible to make up the ground. So what do you think about that perspective, that it's just a done deal?
If you have 100% of Jersey City, yeah, you're right. But I don't think they have 100% of Jersey City. I know Tom DeGise has a team out there looking at the county committees, meeting with the members, picking off members left and right that got on with Fulop, who aren't happy with Fulop anymore, aren't happy with the city, and they also have a history with Tom DeGise. Tom DeGise's been in Jersey City, a lifelong resident. He knows a lot of people. Fulop just became the mayor, like 5 years ago. Tom DeGise has a good following with the county committee members, and if you say they had 100% of the county committee members, yeah, it'd be a tough race to fight, but we don't believe they have 100%. And basically, I think we have all the other cities, most of the other cities.
Gotcha. Well, that's going to be something to watch, obviously. But, let's rewind a little bit and talk back to some policy-related stuff. I know you're a big proponent of making Braddock Park as beautiful as can be, and I know you've done a lot of stuff there. So tell us a little bit about the statue that's coming, some things that are happening over there.
The statue is a 12-foot bronze statue of James J. Braddock in a stance, a fighting stance. We had a member of the Braddock family sit on the committee, pick out the rendering of it. It's being built right now. We're talking about the Braddock statue, which should be done hopefully by the end of the year, October. We're hopefully doing an unveiling of the statue. We're doing an area there that's been not looked at for the longest time. If you know the split by the park, where it goes down towards the Park Imperial and down towards the Stonehenge, that little triangle there where the flagpole is, that's getting all redone over. It's going to be stepped up on granite platform, a 12-foot statue, all pavers around it with lighting and new trees, and it's going to look really, really beautiful. That's coming. The Vietnam Veterans Circle, the circle in the park, which is is dedicated to Vietnam veterans. We're doing that over, and the paths around that area, we're doing that over with cobblestone brick pavers. Eventually, we're going to be doing the basketball courts over, and a lot of the paths. A lot of these are in phases, because, you know, we do have a lot of parks in the county, and everything's done as far as priorities and emergency situations. So that's what we're looking at. We have a lot coming on in the park. We came a long way. It did. It's nice.
Very good. And, you know, since you've been on the Freeholder board, would you say this is probably the thing you're most proud of, or what do you think this falls on your list of accomplishments since becoming county official?
Well, it has to be the park, because that's a big part of my district. It's majority of the park in the district. What county freeholders see, they oversee the county, their roads, their buildings in their district. So what happens in my district is the Braddock Park. In Lincoln, in Freeholder Day's district, here's Lincoln Park. In Freeholder Kenny Colbad's district, here's Greg Park. So, like, we have a major commitment to the residents to keep our parks upgraded, and you know, make sure our residents and our kids have the ball fields to play on that are updated, and in today's technology of the fields and the lighting and everything. Some freeholders have just some roads going through their districts and some buildings, but they're all part of everything. They vote on everything. They say yes or no. I can't do this alone. It's a whole freeholder board that votes with everything, and we do the best we can for the Hudson County residents. So I would support what O'Day wants to do in Jersey City. I would support what Kenny Colpaz wants to do in Bayonne, and they support me what I want to do up here, because we know our areas, we know our districts, we know what we needed. So we're all 9 people who reach out and support every freeholder within their district, no matter what it is.
All right, that makes sense. Now, Freeholder, I would be remiss if I did not bring up this whole situation at the North Bergen Housing Authority. Obviously, I know you're not on the board, you don't work at the Housing Authority, but you're obviously familiar with the NBC I-Team investigation into Jeff Santini, and he's been fired, he lost a couple animal control contracts, and there was a point where he was also on your Freeholder staff. So.
He's still on my staff. He's still on my staff. He was on my staff before he worked for the Housing Authority. He's been a good friend of mine for almost lifelong friends. He's a very hard worker, very committed, very loyal. Every time you call him, he's there in 5 minutes. As far as animal control, I know as far as the township, my role in the township, we get the complaints from animal residents that their animals on the streets. I would call them. The animals are moved within 10-15 minutes. The resident calls me back because I can't believe it's gone already. Even Brian Stack has said that he calls him at midnight. He responds. Brian Stack told Nick Sackle that. Jeff Santini responds within 10 minutes. He has a very good animal control company. It works. He's local. He lives in town. I don't think one thing has to do with the other. If there's any problems with him punching in and punching out on his job, that's between him and the Housing Authority. They have to look at that, and if he did any wrongdoing there, then he should be suspended for it and move on. I don't think he should be fired for it. That's my opinion. I don't know what the investigation looks like. I'm not getting involved in it. I just go what's hearsay. You know, I still speak to Jeff a lot. He's on my payroll. I talked to him this morning. We talk about county issues and things like that. He helps me with my carnival. He helps me with the farmers market. He's there all the time for me. He lives right by the park. He goes through the park on his own. He'll call me, tell me, you know, what's wrong, what's right, and things like that. He'll meet people in the park on his own and call me, say, I'm with so-and-so. They have a problem with the basketball court, the net's broken, this and that. We take care of it. So he's a good staff member on my staff. Very good.
So the fact that the U.S. Attorney's Office and the Office of the Inspector General are involved, I mean, that doesn't bother you at all?
Well, first of all, they have to come in. It's a federally regulated housing authority, so the federal government has to come in. Their own investigating team came in and looked at it. I think the Attorney General's office is in there. Let's see what the findings are, and we'll take it from there. Let's see what the findings are, because every time I called the guy, he was in the housing authority. And if people aren't saying that, they're either jealous of him or they want his job. So you gotta look at where it comes from.
Okay.
You know, his number 2 man might want his job. So of course you're gonna say, yeah, he's never here, he's never here. Listen, every time I call him, he's there. So I don't know where it's going to go, so we'll see what happens.
All right, and as you know, there was 3 or 4 reports by NBC. It wasn't just one. I mean, I'm sure you watched them all. I mean, and when you were done watching, there was nothing there that really jumped out at you?
listen, it's news. You know what I mean? They film him by his business. What if he was on lunch that hour or 2 hours? What if it took half a day? They still has. I don't think they have given the housing authority dates of when the films were produced. He could have taken half a day. He could have went in a different entrance when they were sitting out waiting for him. There's 2 other entrances he can go to. There's 5 other locations he can go to work. He can leave his house and go on an inspection for 2 hours. Not sure he's working, but he didn't go into the office yet. He's doing an inspection, and it takes about 2 hours doing an inspection. So listen, that's between him and Jerry Sanzari, who's the executive director. He's got to keep tabs of the guy. And that's it. Like I said, they were waiting on one entrance. He could have came in the other entrance. Like, for instance, when they came in here looking for the mayor, just sitting outside, waiting for the mayor to come in. The mayor's been here 20 minutes already, half hour already. There's 3 entrances to the building. You're going to cover all of them? They cover 1. So it really was unfair there. Like I said, he could have been on lunch going to his business. He could have been checking out his business. He could be work. It's just so much going on. That's what happens when you have a couple of jobs. It just looks sticky, but you work at it. You do them. You do all your jobs, and that's it. Do them the best you can.
Okay. Well, as you know, and I think as most people that are going to watch this know, he'll be, filing a suit for wrongful termination, and we're going to see where it goes.
Well, as far as I heard, I think Jeff has his attorneys looking at it, going to file a suit against Housing Authority that he was fired for wrong. The investigation will carry out itself, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's what I'm hearing as well. So,
and actually, I could double his salary now because he's around more to work for me. So, I'm probably doubling the salary right now.
And what does he make? 10,000?
I'm only kidding.
All right, that was a good one. You got me on that one. All right, so Anthony, what else is going on from the county on a governmental perspective that we haven't discussed that you would like to get out there?
There's always something going on in the county, like we spoke about the jails, like we spoke about the parks. The school situation is really good right now. The plan for North Bergen, they have a very good plan for the schools. Some people say, "What's the plan? What's the plan? What's the plan?" I feel like saying to you, "Where you been for the last year and a half? You don't watch the news or your newspapers. You're not involved in your community. Then if you guess you don't know what's going on, then you're not involved in your community at all." The existing Hudson County High-Tech High School, as you know, should be ribbon cutting, probably about July. That's out in Secaucus. It's a state-of-the-art facility. It's a gorgeous high school campus. All power to them. And the existing building that remains on Tunley Avenue is going to be purchased by the Township of North Bergen or Board of Education. It's still being worked out. And we'll have another building for all schools. The plan is to alleviate the 7th and 8th graders out of our grammar schools and take out the 9th grade out of our high school and make it 7th and 8th, 9th grade school. And then the high school would have 10, 11, 12. So it'll be about an overall 600 students out of each building, probably. We'll be cutting down the high school from about 2,200 students to about 1,600 students in the building, which is unbelievable. It's great. We'll have the room now that we can move on. We can go back to have art classes, music classes, and things like that. And the 2 high schools should be working together as like a campus, I believe. There's a board. You have to talk to the Board of Education more about this, how they're gonna lay out the schools and the facilities and what they have to upgrade, what they have to put into the building. I don't think there's an auditorium on the Tunley Avenue campus. They might have to put an auditorium in there. Our gymnasium, our fields up at high school on the boulevard are still good. We could put central air in our building. A lot of things to looking at. So that is a plan for the schools overcrowding. There is a plan. It's starting. It's in the works, and that's how we're looking towards the future of our schools. The school overcrowding problem will be solved. So it's over. You can't talk about the overcrowding schools. There aren't anymore. It won't be overcrowded anymore. So that plan is in effect. I would say in a couple of years, maybe 2-3 years. So, we do have a plan. Some people say, "What's the plan? What are you doing?" You know what? Get more involved in the community. You would know what's going on. That's what I have to say to them. Again, all political. All political.
Well, on that point, Freeholder, let's end on this note. Obviously, you're well aware that the municipal elections in North Bergen are about a year away. There's a lot of chatter that you might be running for commissioner. Do you know what you're going to be doing in 2019 on that front?
Yeah, in 2019, I'll be a commissioner. You know why?
Why?
We're changing the terminology of freeholders to commissioners. So I'll be a county commissioner next year. Okay?
Slick. Well done. Well done. All right, Freeholder, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it. I apologize to my fans for doing three different segments. I promise you one more whenever you're ready, whenever we can. We'll do one nice interview live and help you out more. No problem with that.
All right. Thank you, Freeholder. And, we will certainly take you up on that. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate your patience. Sorry for the technical difficulties today, but we will be back next week. Thanks for tuning in. Have a fantastic weekend.